Hi, this is Ishan from Seattle, Washington. I'm currently working as a product manager for Amazon Prime. And here, the purpose of this video is to discuss something with you, which is a single most important skill that can create, a world of difference if you want to level up your game. Now, what that particular skill is, in my opinion, this skill is called a skill of problem solving. Now, hear me out. Usually when we think about a skill or something, we usually think about something which is tangible or something which is too far-fetched. For example, let's say if somebody wants to think about, hey, I'm in the technical sector, I want to level up my game, I will learn this language, that language, etc., etc. Versus, let's say if somebody says, I want to improve my soft skills, so they will think about taking the personality development classes, etc., etc. So they straight away jump to the solution without even understanding the problem. Here's the thing. For example, let's say if somebody scored 35 out of 50 in a math exam. Now, if that person is like what, half of like let's say for example there are 100 students in the class and that person is like 55th or 56th, that means he or she did not do that well on the math test. That's a general perception. And people, and when they talk about this, hey, it's scored 35 out of 50. Now, is this a good score or a bad score? Is that person good in the math or bad in the math? Those are the kind of questions that people deal with. Versus, with this particular problem-solving skill that I'm talking about, it goes a little deeper. It's not taking 35 as a face value. It takes 35 as a face value, plus as well as evaluates, hey, did you put in number of effort? What was the effort that you put in? Was it high, low, whatnot? So as a result, that's a fair comparison. So that's first level of approach. Second level of approach within the problem solving is 35 out of 50 is the score. Now, mathematics consists usually of two or three categories. One is arithmetic, second is algebra, third is geometry. Then if there is a higher grades, then there's trigonometry, whatnot. Each of this combined forms a question paper of 50 points. Now, after out of the 35 that the person has achieved, the problem solving skill will teach us to get a level deeper. As in, out of the 4 sections or 5 sections that comprises the test of the 50 points, how much that score is each of the section. For example, let's say out of the 35 marks that has, or 35 points that have been scored, let's say 20 come out of arithmetic. And arithmetic was a 20-point questions on the particular paper, and out of that, the person has scored 20 out of 20. That means arithmetic is not the problem. Let's take geometry. So geometry, let's say if that person has scored 10 out of 15, may not be a problem. 10 out of 15 may not be a problem. Let's say trigonometry, 1 out of 10 may be a problem. So this is how we break down at individual level to identify the root cause. As in, like, what is the problem? What is the thing that is causing the problems? Now, suddenly jumping from, this is 35 out of 50, not so good in math, not so good in, not so good performance in the math, versus now we're directing to, hey, 35 out of 50 is, it's okay. We specifically need to address the trigonometry problem, not the arithmetic, not necessarily the geometry on certain extent, but trigonometry is something that's causing a lot of problem. So straight away we focus on the exact thing that we should be solving for. So this is what the problem solving skill teaches us. It's nothing fancy. It's just understand the problem very, very well before jumping on the solution. I have seen myself doing this mistake n number of times where I've jumped on the solution too fast. But that's the problem. We spend a lot of effort in terms of creating a solution versus a lot of effort in terms of understanding and defining the problem. So the first and foremost skill that I would say is understand the problem. That's the most important thing. And that can create a world of difference. Like the action that you take, whether it will produce the result or not, or even those actions are even worth taking. Ask these questions, then what is exactly the problem? Break it down until you really get the clarity. Now, how do you get the clarity? How do you solve the problem? There are multiple frameworks. For example, let's say in this specific example that I gave, let's ask questions like why. For example, hey, score 35 out of 50. Okay, why? 35 out of 50 because he or she did not really have much time to prepare, etc., etc. So that's how you get into the discussions of the qualitative things. which is equally important. Now you get into the quantitative things. You break down into multiple categories. Hey, what are the categories available, or what are the categories that make up for this whole thing? So you get into the categorical discussion where you have, out of 35 that that person got, you break it down, you create a pie chart, so to say, like out of which what is exactly the thing that is responsible. Now you get into it. Now, even with the trigonometry that we identified as a problem, within trigonometry, let's see what that person had. If let's say there were 2 or 3 chapters as a part of trigonometry test. Now, are each of these 3 chapters have a problem? Or if each of these maybe one or two chapters might have a problem, but the question was asked from a different chapter. Now you go into the details of it and you exactly find out what's the problem, what exactly is the pain point, and you solve only for that. And once you solve only for that, your rest of the metrics or rest of the marks will automatically improve. Does it make sense? Right? It's so simple, so elegant. It's actually common sense. You don't need to even be an expert to do something like this. It's just a common sense. But common sense is not that common. So the first video that I wanted to make about the one single skill that can create a world of difference is problem solving. This is super important. I hope you like it. I hope you find it useful. If yes, please write me your feedback into the comments. If you like the video, please like, and if you find such videos useful, please do consider subscribing. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.